That was the whole movie. I want to start off by saying a few things before I really get into this review. Just know I am not going to be talking positive about this movie because I did not enjoy it. And if you don't like that, then I'd recommend you just leave the video right now and don't even bother wasting your time. There is going to be a lot of children who are going to watch this movie, hate what I have to say, probably dislike it and leave a comment no matter what I have to say. If you actually care about what other people think about a piece of art, then feel free to keep watching. But now that all of the babies are probably gone, I'm going to say this. Everyone is allowed to have their opinion. Everyone is allowed to like or dislike something. If you like this movie, that is perfectly fine. No one is stopping you from doing that. You are also allowed to dislike something just as much. It doesn't make sense why all of a sudden everyone has to like the Mario movie just because it's Mario. Yes, this is a kids movie. This is a movie made for kids. And I'd even argue that this movie is made for babies. But you know, babies also deserve good movies as well as kids. There are tons of examples of good kids movies. You have the Lego movie, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, the TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Those are all good movies that I can think of right now. They all do something different that this Mario movie franchise does not do. And that's actually make a movie and have a point to it. There's a lot of people who believe just because this is a movie with the name Mario in it, it deserves to be a 10 out of 10 no matter its quality. No matter what, it's supposed to be perfect. Just, it's Mario. Don't you like Mario? And I've said this so many times. Just because a movie was made a specific way doesn't mean it deserves to be a 10 out of 10 automatically. If that was the case, every movie on the planet would be a 10 out of 10. What would be the point of even criticizing anything? Also, the argument of this is a movie for kids doesn't make sense considering half the people who go and watch this movie are adults. And this movie was made by adults. And kids can't really go to the movies without their parents, adults, you know, paying tickets for them. Saying, oh, it's a kids movie, it's supposed to be bad. It doesn't have to have a real story. It's supposed to be all of this. It's just so disingenuous to other kids movies that are actually great. It also just tells that multiple companies can just make whatever the fuck they want and people will eat it up no matter what because it has the name Mario in it. I can literally see right now that the Illumination executives are laughing for putting together one of the laziest movies of this year, and they're going to make billions of dollars off of it because the fans don't understand what makes a good movie. Now, to talk about critics, their job is to review and critique a movie. They are not there to be your best friend. They are not there to give a movie a 10 out of 10 just because it has Mario in it. So for the people saying critics' scores doesn't matter, I'd even argue that the fan scores doesn't matter because they're all extremely biased. If you believe this movie is a 10 out of 10 movie, a masterpiece, an amazing film, that's on you. That's fine. That's whatever you believe. Sure, why not? But don't be upset when a critic's job is to review a movie and they find that this movie is not as good as other movies that they have seen. And honestly, I'd even argue if you believe that the Mario movie is a 10 out of 10 movie, I'd want to ask what other movies have you seen in the last few years? Genuinely, I'm just so curious. But yeah, we're still living in 2026 where everyone is saying this is a movie made for kids, it's supposed to be bad. They're saying that as an unironic defense for this movie, which is just so fucking sad. Also, another thing I was seeing online is a lot of people saying how this is going to make a lot of money, so that just means it's automatically good. Well, if that was the case, then why isn't every Oscar-winning movie getting in the top 100s for their box office performances? Also, the Mario movie didn't even get nominated for an Oscar. So if it's such a great movie, how come it didn't get recognized by the Oscars? Not that I'm trying to say that the Oscar Academy is like perfect, and you know, they always will make dumb choices, but none of them even acknowledge the Mario movie, the first one. So yeah, now that I'm done talking about outside of this movie, the Super Mario Galaxy movie, yeah, I didn't like it. And the funny thing is, I actually enjoyed the first Mario movie a lot more now because this movie is just extremely annoying. Also, before anyone says, yes, I'm a massive Sonic fan, but I also really like Mario. I actually really love the Super Mario Galaxy games a lot. The second Mario Galaxy game was one of the only Wii games that I 100%ed. I played it multiple times over. I even replayed the story multiple times because I really do love the platforming. And I promise you, the day they announce a Super Mario Galaxy 3, I'll be there supporting and glazing the shit out of it. But this movie is just an insult to that game. So yeah, Super Mario Galaxy, the movie, is the sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie. It involves Bowser Jr. coming to kidnap Princess Rosalina, and he eventually tries to kidnap Princess Peach, and that's when the Mario Brothers get involved. This is when Peach gets involved because she's more in the movie. And they have to go out and save Rosalina by traveling to other galaxies or worlds. It's kind of weird because the game universe is weird with that. But yeah, they have to travel to different locations to go and save Rosalina, and Mario is eventually on the adventure as well. And yeah, Star Fox is there. And yeah, I mentioned this in a few videos already, and man was I so right. Star Fox being in this movie is just so distracting. It honestly takes you out of the movie because you're reminded that this is a dumb Illumination movie that has Star Fox in it. And also, fun fact, this movie seems to really care about Star Fox by giving him a whole 2D animated section. There's a lot of characters glazing him and treating him like he was the coolest guy ever. But oh no, he's not as popular. So it's only fair that he's a cameo in this movie because he's not popular enough to get his own movie, according to the internet. So yeah, it's kind of funny how Illumination really cared about Star Fox and seemed like they want to give him his own entry, but the fans all of a sudden don't. But I'm the asshole for saying that Star Fox deserved to have his own movie. Rosalina is in this movie, but she barely is even in it. Imagine if they made the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie, but Shadow was in the movie for 10 minutes total. It almost feels insulting because Brie Larson is a massive Nintendo fan and she barely does anything in this movie for her performance. Bowser Jr.'s character was fine. I mean, he really was just Bowser Jr. Didn't really make an impact on me, really. Yeah, that was a little summary of the plot so far, and now I just want to talk about specifics. Animation-wise, this movie was pretty gorgeous. It was pretty fun. It was like eye candy. It's very pretty. It's pretty movie. Though, oh my god, I just can't help but just always notice that Illumination just always goes for the cheapest way possible to make these movies. Illumination is always guilty of recycling their animation and their character models, and man, have they done it again. I understand that in the Mario universe, every character is basically the same, but this movie could have done something different. Like, I kid you not, you'll see a background character and you'll see him again like 20 more times. This movie just feels so weird and crazy because there are so many characters who are just recycled so many times. I don't know, may have one have an eye patch or have one have scars, have one be a different color, who really cares? This is a Mario movie with Star Fox in it. You've already crossed the line of absurdity. So yeah, while the movie did look very pretty, very gorgeous, a lot of the character models were just recycled, like copy and pasted multiple times. There were some interesting sound designs here throughout the movie. If you're a big Mario fan, you'll recognize the tunes and certain sounds by certain enemies and characters that give off, you know, it sounded like a Mario movie, so I think they did a good job there. If anything, I think they did a better job than the first movie with sound design. Alright, voice performances, well, oh my god, why does Chris Pratt have this role, honestly? Why? He just cannot be Mario. There are just times where it's just so obvious this is Chris Pratt. He's not even trying to sound like Mario. At least Luigi somewhat still sounds like a Luigi-esque character, kind of. And Charlie Day did an okay job. Donald Glover being Yoshi was kind of just whatever, because Yoshi just says Yoshi all the time. So I guess as long as you can just, you know, say the Yoshi word and make it sound like Yoshi, you get the role. It almost just feels like this is just, well, it pretty much is. It's a celebrity choice so that they can get more people to come see this movie and be like, oh look, Donald Glover. Brie Larson plays Rosalina as mentioned, and man did she not impress me at all. There were times where, yeah, she gave the correct line delivery, but there are other times where she just sounded like she just phoned it in. I really don't think she did a great job, which begs the question why she was even in this movie to begin with. Oh, that's right, celebrities. Gotta have those celebrities. Benny Safdie played Bowser Jr., and again, he just did fine. He didn't do anything really impressive. Lynn Powell played Fox, and that was pretty interesting. At least he did a good job to portray his character pretty good. I don't know, I think he was probably the best voice actor in this whole movie. Yes, by the way, I know that I said Fox was being voiced by Fox McCloud. I'm sorry, I don't know that much about Star Fox. Just because I said there's a lot of Star Fox fans doesn't mean I said I was one of them. There was Issa Rae, I believe, playing Honey Queen, and she had like 2 lines, so yay. Luis Guzman played Wart, and I think he did a pretty good job in this movie. He wasn't really in the movie that long, but he pretty much did fine. It wasn't anything like boring or distracting or phoned in. And really, that's all I want to talk about as far as voice actors, because everyone else just did a whatever type of job. I think Jack Black tried to do a better performance as Bowser than he did in the first movie, and I will give him credit there. But everyone else they just did not do anything impressive. Just voice acting. This was all just something I feel like they just phoned in. I don't really see the whole excitement in it. Chris Pratt cannot voice act and he needs to seriously stop. Like, I would not be surprised if Nintendo unironically just replaces Chris Pratt, because he does a terrible Mario voice. characters in the movie are all pretty much the same. Luigi, for some reason, is a fucking idiot in this entire movie. Like, he just does a lot of things that are really fucking stupid. Like, I actually don't even know what happened. I swear if you watch the first movie and then watch the second movie, you're going to say, like, why does Luigi act like an actual idiot? And Luigi didn't even get that much screen time to even give off this whole, like, oh, I'm an idiot type of character. I'm gullible. I'll believe anything. But yeah, he was extremely goofy. He just really was stupid. Really stupid. Bowser was interesting because for half of the movie, they unironically, and okay, I guess this is maybe a slight spoiler, but I won't say too much, but for Bowser, they tried so hard to convince me that he's a good guy, and I don't know why, because Bowser is a bad guy. He has, for the majority of his time in video games, been a bad guy. But I guess they were trying to reference a certain other game, which I'll talk about when I get into the story and writing. But yeah, Bowser is just Bowser again, except he was going to be the good guy, but that doesn't really matter in the later half of the movie. Peach actually does a lot in this movie, like almost as much as the Mario brothers, and some would even argue that she does more than Mario and Luigi. She's actually the one taking an initiative to go after Rosalina and actually try and find her. Now, granted, in the movie, she kind of just like fucks off and does it without really telling anyone, but still, there is a lot of screen time for Peach. Rosalina is barely in the movie, as I mentioned already, so there's really not much to say about her. She is unironically a one-dimensional damsel in distress character. There's not really much to really say about other characters. Like, yeah, Yoshi is there along for the ride, and he's just Yoshi. He takes part in the action, which I'll talk about that whole right now. Let's talk about its theme and, like, identity. I will say this movie does a really great job of not being a Galaxy movie. Like, for a movie called the Super Mario Galaxy movie, this is not a Galaxy movie. This will not remind you of the Super Mario Galaxy games unless you watch a specific segment of the film that is 5 minutes long. They barely go to any worlds, and the worlds that they do go to, they are there for literally minutes. And they don't even, like, explore the worlds like it's in the game. They don't go to any puzzles, go to any, slides and slopes or any unique challenges, nothing like that. If anything, this movie spends more time trying to be like Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. Wii, Super Mario Maker, RPG, and even Odyssey, and even Yoshi's Island. There are so many other games that this movie decides to reference and even take time away to just be like, hey, let's be this Mario game now, than Mario Galaxy. What the absolute fuck, Nintendo and Illumination? This is a Super Mario Galaxy movie, and there is barely anything about Super Mario Galaxy in it. I think the action segments are pretty fun, they're pretty cool, nothing really bad there. It's just really for the audience to go ooh and ah. There is a lot of references to Smash Bros. In this movie, and like I said, there is nothing in this movie that even hints that there being a Smash movie, and I've already made a video why that's never going to happen, but it was also later confirmed that there are no plans to make a Super Smash Bros. Movie. And if anything, I don't understand why people can't just be happy with Mario just being a Mario universe. Like, there are so many properties and spin-off titles that they can work with. Why do we automatically need to go to Smash? So yeah, Smash Bros. Ain't happening, and maybe we'll get another Galaxy movie because, man, this does not feel like a Galaxy movie. There's even scenes in this movie where they literally are just playing the actual game. Like, I don't want to say too much, but they specifically put on a certain item that is just, oh, that is that game. We are literally just not even being Mario Galaxy at this point. The writing is atrocious, and you can predict the absolute fuck out of this movie from the first 5 minutes. There is a secret about Rosalina that probably gets exposed in the first 5 minutes of this film, and it's really obvious what happens. Well, at least if you've watched a lot of movies, and you can probably predict the fuck out of this. But yeah, nothing ever really is like at real stakes here. Everything just moves along. It's all nice and dandy. There are no threats. There are no surprise twists and turns, which I've seen a lot of people say that this movie has a lot of twists and turns, but that is just a lie. You can predict what's going to happen in this movie. Like, it's almost hilarious that this movie tried to pretend to kill off certain characters. Like, come on now. This wasn't really like a really funny movie, and the moments that I laughed at were really unintentional. Like I mentioned earlier, there's this character that they pretend to kill off and somewhere in the movie, and I just couldn't help but laugh at that because it's like, wow, they really gonna trick us, huh? They really think they can. There's also just random moments like a dinosaur skeleton being the bridge between two like islands. I thought that was pretty funny. But I don't know, I didn't really think there was a lot of other moments in this movie that was funny. There was a lot of intended jokes, but yeah, there's just not much in this that's really that funny to me. This movie is a really big baby movie. Now, I already mentioned that before, but oh my god, the amount of times that this movie just felt like a baby movie was just so absurd. Like, not only is Mario and Luigi turned into babies in this movie, we get a flashback of Peach as a baby, Bowser Jr. is a baby, the star character children are basically babies. So much of this movie is just babified. Like, I kid you not, this is one of these movies that a baby would have on the back seat in the minivan watching on a road trip. Like, this is one of those movies where, like, a movie will say something like, let's go, and the baby will be like, let's go. It's literally, the writing of this movie is made for babies to mock and repeat. This is the level of intelligence that this movie is expecting you to have. So yeah, if you're below the age of 5, then you're going to think this movie is absolutely amazing. You're going to have a thrill ride looking at all the references and jingling keys. Speaking of which, let's talk about that. The references and jingling keys, oh my god, they're so fucking annoying. There's so many times in this movie where this is just such an obvious time to look at the screen, point, and look at the reference, and oh my god, soy out over every little thing. And I know that because the kids in the audience that I went to go see this were literally doing that. Every 5 minutes, kids in the audience would scream and laugh and point and soy out and say, oh my god, and repeat the exact things that the movie just said. And I was expecting that to happen, but man, was it just so much more annoying in this movie than it was in the last movie. The first movie didn't have to rely on, well, it did rely on references, but oh my god, this movie, unironically, is on 5 different crutches. Its literally reliance is jingling keys, references, and nostalgia baits.
Jingle, jingle, pay attention, I said your favorite word.
That's all this movie is. This is atrocious writing. I know I've talked about writing for a while, but this is really the worst part of this movie. This movie just sucks when it comes to writing. The music choices were bad. There was a lot of pop culture songs in this movie, and it's bad, including a song that was made / produced with Diddy. Like, wow, congratulations, Illumination. You're so funny and quirky. I don't understand how they decided to do this. I know it's just a song. Sometimes you can separate the art from the artist. But like, really, Illumination, you really thought this was a good choice? I know a lot of people don't really care. Probably people didn't even know that there was a song in here with Diddy in it, but still, what the fuck? But at least the sound design was still good. There is no message and no themes in this movie at all. I'm not joking. If you watch this movie, you're not going to end up with a message or a theme or anything to like learn from. It truly just isn't anything to just like think about. It's, you watch this movie, you see all the references, jingling keys, and you're gonna walk out the theater and be like, okay, that was like a lot of sensory overload. The people saying this movie is made for YouTube Shorts are not lying. This movie is unironically a movie that is just what I just said. Jingling keys, references, nostalgia bait for an hour and 38 minutes, and that's it. You literally just walk out with nothing learned. Like, this literally could have been a short. So yeah, no substance in this film at all. Now, this is where I would normally end the review right here and just talk about my score, but I actually want to talk about spoilers because, man, is there a few things that I want to talk about. And I'm just going to go over the spoiler parts. I'm not going to go over the whole specific story again like I used to in the past. So yeah, if you do not want to see spoilers or hear them, you should probably get out now. Yeah, there's your warning. If you don't get out of here in 5 seconds, starting now, I'm going to start spoiling the shit out of this movie. Alright, so yeah, Peach and Rosalina are sisters. Man, does that make all those fan art pictures a lot more awkward now. I mean, yeah, this was never like a confirmed thing, but the movie decides to say, fuck it, let's do it. I also kind of just hate how their backstory is just not explained at all. So much in this movie is just not explained, like where Rosalina and Peach comes from, but they're sisters and they grew up on a small planet. That's really it. That's one of the big major surprises. Like I mentioned earlier, Fox is in this movie, and he's in this movie for a good amount of time, probably just as much as Rosalina. And also, Mr. Game & Watch just makes an appearance because whatever. And Rob is there, but most people knew about Rob. But yeah, Mr. Game & Watch just appears from like a painting from that Luigi gets when he gets the brush from Bowser Jr. And man, is that so stupid and bad. Like, it literally just feels like Illumination was just like, which random Nintendo franchise can we grab and just put in this movie for 30 seconds. And yes, the audience in my movie was soying out really hard when they saw Mr. Game & Watch. They really do think a Super Smash Bros. Movie is happening. There's the final scene in the whole movie where they remember that they're a Galaxy movie, and that's what I kind of wanted to talk about because Throughout this movie, it just is a Super Mario movie, then it's like Yoshi's Island, then it's Super Mario Maker, then it's Mario RPG, and then it remembers it's a Galaxy movie. And I swear if you take the moments that are just Super Mario Galaxy, you're left with like 10 minutes. Like, I kid you not, 10 minutes of this entire movie is just Super Mario Galaxy. And yeah, they remember that this is a Mario Galaxy movie at the last like literal 10 minutes, and they overload you with all these power-ups and references to the Mario Galaxy game, so yay. That was my lips that did that. I don't know how I did that, but I just did it. But yeah, the movie remembers that it's a Super Mario Galaxy movie and decides to actually do that. There's a lot of times in this movie where nothing really gets a lot of like screen time. Everything just happens really quickly. Like, nothing has ever stayed on the screen for that long. It's just snap at the fingers, snap, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. At least in the beginning of the movie where they're down in a cave trying to figure out what's clogging all the pipes before they find Yoshi. That scene was pretty cool because, you know, they actually take their time. There was some nice ambiance and like white noise type music where it's like, oh wow, this is like the games. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. It's pretty slow. It's pretty creepy. There's no talking. Yeah, it feels like Mario. And then the movie remembered that it's made by Illumination and it decided to drop all of that. But yeah, at the end, you can probably guess what happens. Mario kills Bowser and kills Bowser Jr. They get banished to the Shadow Realm. Mario saves the day, and now he got 2 princesses to marry. And yeah, I mean, that's the end of the movie. And then the first post-credit scene isn't really anything special. Bowser and Bowser Jr. are going to return. Also, they had like Bone Bowser, I believe that's what it's called, like Bone Bowser, where he's like a skeleton. He made an appearance because he fell in lava. He was the guy that they tried to kill off, but obviously not. But yeah, they're in jail and they're going to escape because it's Mario. Of course, Bowser's going to escape. And then the second post-credit scene, Daisy shows up. And the crowd really went crazy because Daisy... I'm just sitting here and like just confusion because it's like, okay, it's Daisy. What about Daisy is so like crazy to these people? And also, she didn't really do anything. She just punched a guy who was running away with a bag, and that's it. At least with other post-credit scenes from other movies, the characters that make a surprise appearance at least does something cool. So it's like, oh, who is this person? And like, oh wow, and you get to see the character, and it's like, so this is what they're going to be like in the next movie. Daisy just punches someone. That's it. I don't know. It's just so like, wow. And like, I guess like the movie expected people to clap and cheer because they have a bunch of the times where characters show up and they have this music and it's like, oh, you're supposed to clap and cheer. But I don't do that for movies. I only did it for Avengers Endgame because that deserved it. Literally, that was the only time I ever clapped for something. But yeah, that's the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's really all I want to talk about. So yeah, that's the Super Mario Galaxy movie. It's just so sad because the Mario universe deserves so much more love than what Illumination is giving it. It deserves to be made by someone else, but it doesn't matter because Illumination is going to make movies super cheap and are going to turn a profit and it's going to make $1 billion. So who really cares what anyone says? If you actually made it to the end of this review, I really do appreciate it. But yeah, that's really it. There's just nothing else I have to say. There's a lot of issues with this movie. As I mentioned, the voice acting is not impressive. The characters are all kind of dumb and don't really stand out. The jingling keys and reference and nostalgia bait is extremely annoying. This doesn't even feel like a Galaxy movie. The jokes are not that funny. And this movie just has no substance or anything worth remembering. It's just Mario, Mario, Mario for an hour and 38 minutes. And if that's really all you want, if you like to have that like fed to you with absolutely nothing else to justify being a film, then you're going to absolutely love this. I don't. I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. There are some good things about it, of course. Like, yeah, it's pretty, its sound design is pretty great, and it is a pretty fun movie when it remembers that it's a Super Mario Galaxy movie. And yeah, the first movie I feel like did a better job of at least being a movie. This one didn't. This just doesn't feel like a movie half the time. So yeah, 5 out of 10, that's what I'd give it. It'd probably be lower the more I watch this, honestly. But yeah, what do you guys think? I'm very curious to know. And yeah, thank you for anyone who actually sat through all of this and watched it to the end. But yeah, that's all I want to say. Everyone have a great rest of your day.